Chris Colbert, they match him up with Jose Valenzuela, both coming off losses. For my money, probably 96-93 Valenzuela would have been the right score, but they give it to Colbert. He gets the decision. Super controversial, to say the least. They have it, I think, 95-94, all three judges for Colbert. Everyone, the crowd, the fans almost booed Colbert out of the ring.
Here's the problem.
Horrible judging. Well, the only person maybe with a worse performance than those judges would be Kenny Bayless in the main event. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. No, well said. Well said, honestly said, easy one to say. The fans said it all. They pulled him out of the arena.
Zero accountability. Nothing's going to happen.
No.
The poor kid Valenzuela gets second loss in a row. His career is probably derailed.
That's the ugly part.
We'll never hear from him again.
I just gave some kudos to Heyman for that he takes care of his fighters. Here's the negative. Here's the ugly part of that. He's one of the guys. So he controls judging. He's got the power. If these judges don't judge the right way, they don't work. I mean, there's some infiltration of that stuff, touching, where there's much closeness between the power of the promoter and the people that are supposed to be executives or executors of the sport. You're not supposed to have that closeness. There's supposed to be separation between church and state. There's no separation. Really. I could go into it. I've gone into it other podcasts. I'm not going to do it right now and go into a deep dive right now on it. I've done it already. Go back and look at in the archives. You'll find one of them that explains it in more detail, more depth. But you have the people that make money in this business that have influence over the people that are supposed to be, as I just said, the administrators of justice and rules in his business. That's a problem. That's a problem. They have influence over those people, okay? And those people know who these promoters want to win. And they know that if they're not being satisfied, they're not going to work. That's a big problem. So the ugly part of whether it's the Arams, the Heymans, whether it's the Hearns, it's the whoever, the De La Hoyas, the Warrens, whoever it is that's controlling those little pieces of property in boxing, and that's what it is. There's like 5 power brokers. The ugly part is that you will get these corrupt decisions. Yeah, call them incompetent if you want, but I would beg to differ and say some of these are so bad, nobody could be that incompetent. Here's this kid Colbert, who's dressed like a bumblebee, right? And he's arrogant, and he's, he got beat up his last fight. He came back. Okay, he came back. He fought a pretty good fight. He fought a, competitive fight. He showed some heart. He got off the floor. He gets dropped, but he gets dropped. He gets hurt a couple times during the fight. He gets almost knocked out in the last round. I mean, and then you got a kid who's not, privileged. Because Colbert's privileged. Yeah, I know he comes from a tough background. But right now in his life, he's privileged. He's without Heyman. He's privileged. And good for him. Good for him. But not good for Valenzuela. That's the sad part. Because Valenzuela is not privileged. He's a kid who just went in there with his guts, his trunks, his shoes, his socks, his heart, his dreams. And he went out there and he beat one of the privileged guys. And now what does he get for it? He gets told to go in the back of the effing line and take thousands of more punches and hope you get back here. That's what he was done to him. That's what was done to him. And that's why I'm not working on ESPN no more. You want to know one of the reasons? Because I say it. That's right, but I am working on ESPN. I'm calling UFC fights. Thanks, guys, for letting me call UFC fights because I love you. And I love boxing, and I always will. 50 years in the business. It's my life, and it's given me a good life, and my family. But I tell you, it hurts me. It never stops hurting me to see kids like Valenzuela brokenhearted, crying, brokenhearted. When he earned the right not to be brokenhearted. And then, then you got to get a Colbert to, and again, he can't punch. He's a gutsy guy, but he's another one that they would say was the greatest prospect since Sugar Ray Robinson. The commentator, I heard them saying it early in his career, and I was like, what are these guys talking about? But now you can see. Now you can see a little bit better. But here's the point. Colbert, he acted so arrogant. I mean, look, the other kid's upset. I know he's trying to talk to him. The other kid's upset. Just let it go. Colbert, then at the end, he sticks his tongue out at him. That, you know what? That just added salt in the wounds. Because, I'll tell you why. Because it fits in with my narrative. It just goes along with what I'm saying. The arrogance, the spoiled brat. Like I know he comes from a tough brat. I said that already. But right now he's a spoiled brat because he's with Heyman. And he sticks his tongue out. He was like that kid, Ken, that like, na 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 na. Yeah, I got my way. You didn't get your na 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 na. I got what I wanted. You didn't get it. That's what he was like doing to this kid Valenzuela, except in much more serious circumstances here. This ain't in a playground. You know what I mean? This ain't in a playground where I got the ball, you didn't get it, and mommy says I can play and you can't. No, this is much more serious. Like I said, Valenzuela's got to go back in the effing line and take thousands of punches to try to get back to take care of his family, to try to get back to the place where Colbert is. He is, to a certain extent. I know he lost his last fight and his stock has dropped a lot, but he's in a comfortable place compared to this Valenzuela. Valenzuela was trying to get to that place, and he earned the right to get there, and it was taken away from him by these horrible judges. Horrible. I'm going to be Charles Barkley. Yeah, people have actually said that, and that's a great compliment to me. They say, you're the white Charles Barkley. I don't know. Maybe I don't know about that, but I don't know. But anything connected with Charles is good for me because I like Charles. I like him as what I already said early in the program, the kind of person that he is. So I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna say that these judges are horrible people. Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I said it there. What are you gonna do about it? I said the same thing Barkley said the other day on CBS. They're horrible people. And again, I qualify it. I understand they're not all horrible. They're not all bad. But some of them are. And they do great damage to these kids. So, horrible, disgraceful, heartbreaking robbery of Valenzuela. And that's the problem. It's great to be with Al Heyman. It ain't so great if you're on the other side. It's not so great if you're on the other side, in these kind of fights. Or if you're on the other side of Arum. Or of Hearn, or of any of them, De La Hoya. It's not so great then. So, I just tell you, I fought for years. Ken, I fought for years to get a commission, a national commission. Years to get a national commission in boxing. And I don't think we're ever going to get it. If we were, I probably would have been there to help get it. But I guess it's never going to happen, and that would be the only solution.
The only way that happens is if the fans get together and vote with their feet. They don't show up to these big fights, and they just basically make their voices heard with their wallets and stop watching the corruption.
And I want to make one more point. I want to give credit. I knock the crap out of people when I think they should be, Ken. I want to give credit to Jim Gray, the commentator, the sideline reporter,
former guest of this show.
I want to give him credit, kudos, everything, that he had the guts, the truth, but he had the class and guts to say on the air, and I'm sure the PBC people didn't like it. They didn't like it. And the head of Showtime takes his orders from Heyman too. So I'm sure that they didn't like it. I'm sure that they weren't thrilled that Jim Gray said to Valenzuela in the ring, I agree with you. You won. I'm sure they didn't like it. And again, Jim, you're my friend. You know what? I've always liked you. I liked you even better the other night when I heard you say that. I was proud of you. Proud of you. You don't need Teddy Atlas, but I was proud of you. You don't need me to tell you that. You have your family to tell you that and yourself to tell you that. But I was proud of you because very few commentators do it. And I'll tell you, I'll give credit to the commentating team. They don't always get it right, but on the whole, they were good. They told the truth. But Jim Gray really stepped up. He really stepped up for me. And I think for a lot of people, when he stepped up and he said, hey, you won that fight. Right there, when you know the people that pay him weren't happy. Because most of these guys, they never do that, Ken, because they're howling for their meals. All they care about is their paycheck. They don't give a crap about nothing else.